If there's one thing we know and love about Bethesda, aside from their games being magnets for hilarious bugs, it's that they love a stealth archer build. If you've ever played Skyrim before, you'll likely be well aware of the stealth archer archetype. But for the uninitiated, in pretty much every single Bethesda title post Skyrim, from Elder Scrolls to Fallout, if you power level stealth and ranged weapons, you can pretty much run through the game before the enemy AI even realises you're there. Yes, it must have been the wind that planted that arrow, laser beam, or bullet straight between your eyes, random henchman. The stealth archer, or builds akin to it, was so overpowered in previous games that it pretty much became a meme in its own right, and has been the build of choice for anyone looking for an easy walk through Bethesda titles. And it turns out the stealth archer meme is very much alive and well in Starfield. In fact, if anything, playing as a stealthy ranged spaceman is even more broken than it's ever been before. So if you're looking for the most powerful and potentially broken build you can get in Starfield, you could do a lot worse than the classic space stealth archer. Here's what you're going to need to focus on if you want to be able to walk into any base this side of Alpha Centauri and run house without them even noticing. Let's kick things off with where to put your skill points, shall we? The most obvious area you'll need to focus on is stealth. For every level up in the stealth skill, you just become that little bit harder to spot, and by getting it all the way to max level, you become 100% more difficult to detect while you're being sneaky. And suppressed weapons you use deal 20% more sneak attack damage. A very good start. Combined with the concealment skill, this becomes even more powerful. Getting that all the way to max level causes distant enemies to lose you as soon as you go into sneak. And a ranged sneak attack does 4 times normal damage, while your melee sneak attacks do 10 times normal damage. All this probably brings to mind the sniper builds you might have seen floating around, but that's not necessarily the end goal here. We've got something, bizarrely, a bit louder in mind, but we'll get to that in a minute. Combine all of this with the isolation skill, a social skill that casts you as a lone wolf-style space wanderer, and these buffs really start to stack. If you spend the 4 skill points to unlock it and kill 100 enemies while not in command of a follower to get all the way to level 4, you'll get a plus 40% buff to your weapon damage and gain 60 damage resistance for each spacesuit and helmet equipped when you don't have a companion or any crew, making you the perfect solo sneaky killing machine. From there, look at adding some combat skills to the mix. Depending on your preferred weapons of choice, you'll want to take certification in shotguns, rifles, pistols, or snipers, but the exact combo is up to you. That said, if you're looking to add a bit of fun to the stealth ranged attacker archetype, this kind of build can get a bit paint by numbers when your damage numbers get high enough. Taking shotgun certification might help with that, and I'll explain why in a minute. From there, you're going to want to ramp up your marksmanship, ballistics, and sharpshooting skill slots. Combined together, these will add some massive damage to your ranged weapons and critical hits, especially if you don't use a scope, which you probably will if you're a sniper build, but probably won't if you're using a shotty. And finally, this leads us on to probably the most important part of the build. You need to get yourself a modded set of space armor that makes you invisible when you don't move. You can get this invisibility power up in a few different ways, but essentially it involves the chameleon perk that you can get on spacesuits. The Mantis suit is capable of getting this ability if you can be bothered gathering the necessary components, or you can try to cop the pirate assault spacesuit with the chameleon perk built in. You can get that by looting and shooting while on your travels, but it can also be picked up without the perk, so it's not a guarantee just because you took out a group of pirates. Remember the meme in Skyrim when your stealth got high enough enemies would just kind of lose track of you even if you crouched directly in front of them after you'd stabbed them in the back? Well, that kind of works in space as well, it turns out. The first thought that comes to mind is probably to grab the nearest sniper rifle, but the thing is, thanks to the modded invisibility suit, going dark doesn't necessarily mean sneaking around and taking carefully placed shots on your enemies. You can just as easily run and gun, going in guns blazing, and still get the benefits of your stealth skill pickups. Get a high enough power shotgun with a tight spread, and you can delete bases by just crouching and keeping things in your line of sight. Crouching and staying still will make you invisible if you have the chameleon perk and give you stealth bonuses to hits without really even stealthing. Precision and aiming, that's so 10 years ago. It was in fact the one downside of Skyrim's archer build. That's why they gave you the power to slow time by breathing in to make it super easy. Skill isn't that essential anymore, thanks to the magic of technology. Take a shotgun like the Boom Boom with its ridiculously high fire rate and it can tear apart enemies in a matter of seconds and they won't even see you coming. Or alternatively, you can play it out like the classic stealth archers of old and go long range with snipers, or find silenced guns in chests or picked off the bodies of enemies if you want to fully lean into the space shadows. However you do it, it's great to see Bethesda keeping their favourite stealth archer build alive and well in Starfield. And if you're looking for more ways to break the game, check out this video, where we guide you through the quickest ways to get rich on your next space adventure.